Once upon a time, there was a man named Bob. Poor Bob found himself stuck in a peculiar prison, not because he did anything truly bad, mind you, but because his ideas were bigger than his common sense. He wasn't one to give up easily. Oh no, he had dreams, schemes, and enough determination to fill 10 prisons. But there was just one problem. Every single plan ended in disaster. Bob decided his first brilliant idea would be to dig a tunnel. Armed with nothing more than a spoon, he began digging under his bed. Dirt flew everywhere, covering Bob from head to toe until he looked more like a mud monster than a mastermind. With great effort and even greater hope, he popped out of the ground, only to find himself in the neighboring cell. Another prisoner stared at him blankly. "Wrong room?" the other inmate asked dryly. Before Bob could answer, he tripped over his shoelaces while scrambling back to his own cell. Undeterred, Bob moved on to plan B. Disguise! He fashioned a guard's uniform out of bed sheets and used markers to draw fancy badges. And for that authentic touch, 2 bananas taped to his head as a hat. Feeling proud, he strutted down the hallway. Unfortunately, real guards weren't fooled. One squinted suspiciously and asked, "What kind of hat is that?" The bananas fell off mid-walk. Bob rose, wide-eyed, as the guards dragged him back to his cell. Next, Bob turned his attention skyward. If he couldn't dig or sneak his way out, why not fly? Using socks, duct tape, and a desk fan, he built himself a hot air balloon. Climbing aboard his rickety contraption, which wobbled dangerously, he took off, only to crash straight into the ceiling. Papers and debris rained down around him like confetti. A janitor swept past, shaking their head. "This guy again," they muttered. For his final attempt, Bob decided to ride a unicycle over the prison wall. After countless falls and bruises, he finally thought he was ready. Pedaling furiously toward the wall, gaining speed. But instead of clearing it, he crashed into a giant pile of watermelons outside. Seeds and juice exploded everywhere. Guards and prisoners alike watched in stunned silence before bursting into uncontrollable laughter. Even the toughest criminals couldn't resist Bob's antics. Defeated but not broken, Bob slumped onto his bed, wondering if escape was truly worth it. Just then, the door swung open. It was the other inmates, carrying instruments they'd made from random objects. One played a comb and paper kazoo, another banged on pots and pans, and a third strummed a guitar made from a broomstick and rubber bands. They started playing a cheerful tune, inviting Bob to join them. At first hesitant, Bob eventually picked up a guitar and joined in. Everyone laughed and played together, turning the dreary prison into a lively party. And so, Bob learned something important that day. Freedom isn't always about escaping. It's about finding joy where you are.